Welcome back. So today's Thursday, the 10th of September. We're moving quickly through the week. If you notice on the screen, there are only two items to talk about today. These are very quick. I don't see this taking much time to establish. It'll give you more time to develop your actual exercise, which is in the next folder. Okay. So basically what we're getting at today is free writing and pre-writing techniques. There are multiple pre-writing techniques, hundreds of them. I'm just going to focus on a few of them. So as I'm shifting now to the course catalog or the calendar for Thursday, notice I have these different concepts down here. Right here, if I click on the word demo, this will work our way through all the variety of techniques available that I want to emphasize for the course. So for instance, on page 2, what I want to emphasize mainly is that you want to develop your idea first before you just simply sit down at a computer and start typing away like crazy. That's how you create horrible papers, just typing away without processing or outlining or examining what you really want to say. So what a pre-write does, it establishes patterns and it establishes stronger intentions towards the material or towards the prompt. This will get you higher grades. So the first one is called a free write exercise. Those are my favorites. I really like free write exercises. I still use them today. As an old man, I use free write exercises whenever I need to establish a stronger concept. I do maintain a journal. That also is considered pre-writing. Journals, I've sort of faded out of using them as frequently as I used to. There was a time in the 90s that every day I would have at least a page written in a journal exploring ideas and concepts I was taking further for creative writing. Also, there's something called listing, and that's just the basic outline of ideas. You just number them at random. And finally, there's something called mapping, clustering, or grouping. You might have called them something else. I've even heard something called netting. They're all the same thing, and they can be used in multiple ways. So we'll get to that in just a second. As far as free writing is concerned, what we have here, free writing kicks in gear your imagination. Okay, the main concept you get from free writing is you sit down in front of a paper holding a pen and then you simply write for the sake of writing. You are not keeping track, you are not editorializing, you're not proofing, you're just writing for the sake of writing. And generally what happens once you kick in the creative writing mode in your head, you tend to start exploring different avenues and different ideas. So another way of putting it, the critic in your head, the editor in your head is turned off. So the instant you write something down, typically what's going to happen, your editor or critical side is going to say that sucks and start scratching and rearranging or changing the grammar, that sort of thing. You just ignore that. You're just writing for the sake of writing. I will have an example in a quick second. What I tend to push on students is called a focused free write, in which I give you a topic and then you're just writing on that topic off the top of your head, just general impressions. It's interesting what can, through random associations, notice I have it here, random associations, what happens when you make word associations. So through a forced free write or a focused free write. They're called various things. You develop work on a specific topic. Okay. I do have a student example from a student named Anthony. This is way back in 2008. But we were in a 1301 at Wharton County Junior College, and this is his product. What they were doing, they would do the free write by hand and then transfer it to computer to submit it. But you're basically acknowledging your first thoughts and just flowing with it. Okay, so this was a focused free write about televised public execution, like they used to do in the 1800s and previous centuries. Basically, somebody who's been convicted and is going to be executed, they would televise it live on PBS. Okay, and some people have proposed this concept as a way of curbing back crime. It's an interesting theory that I don't think could actually function well in society. But nonetheless, I was saying, what would happen if this became the rule of the land, so to speak? What if we did televise all these criminals being hung or being shot as capital punishment in states that allow capital punishment? So Anthony wrote this out. Do take the time to read the whole thing. Again, it's not grammatically correct. It's not a perfect essay in no way of fashion. It's just he's looking at his observations. He's showing you how he thinks to himself, and that's all it is. He's looking for an idea that could maybe become a paper. Editorial, once you edit it, proof it, reshape it into a proper academic paper. Okay, so that's free writing. Journals, again, like I said, journals are real easy to maintain. You set the rules, you set how it's going to look. No restrictions whatsoever. There's no formula. There's no perfect way. In a manner of speaking, these are like meditation exercises. You are just reflecting back on your day and seeing how you feel. Some people like to close the day with a positive note, so they will find one positive aspect of their daily routine and give a thank you out to that moment, to that person or to that event. It's an interesting approach. Rather than end with a negative, angry rant at somebody, you're ending with a positive, happy feeling and allowing yourself to relax. I'm skipping through these other pages to get to an example of listing. This is by Martha Graham. She's a modernist dancer, started in the 20s and 30s. But in her diaries, her notebooks, she left behind basically lists of ideas. This is all one... how do I phrase this? This is the beginnings of a dance that eventually became something radical unto itself. So she's just thinking, free writing her list out. You know, she's not numbering them, but you can see a progression if you ever sit back and read through all this. She starts out with the labyrinth, which is like a maze. And if you know anything about Greek literature, ancient Greek myth, the labyrinth is a major scene in the story of Theseus and the Minotaur. But she's saying the labyrinth is a symbol of life. Okay? And then she moves from the labyrinth down here to the Sibyl, which is a woman prophet. She sits in front of a steaming, I say steaming, volcanic smoke and ash and fire and drugs, sniffing and inhaling the fumes, and she goes into this state of divine ecstasy and proclaims a prediction of the future. That's what the Sibyls would do. That's one aspect of their prophecies. You see the word there, prophecy. So no, she's going, this is all ancient cultural ideas, and she shifts all the way down here to Emily Dickinson. I always fascinating how she moves from this Greek myth down to this historical 1800s writer of Emily Dickinson. It shows her thought process and how she's going to develop her ideas further. So that's a listing. Okay. This material that I have here about Shay Shonagon, the Japanese writer, will touch base with her again in the near future. I'm saving that for a later date. Okay, so all of these are pre-writing techniques. All of them are viable. All of them can help you produce good work. Okay, so that's part one. See you in a few minutes.